Hey, what's going on, guys? Zach Crawford here, and we are continuing our series on basically launching and actually making a income from affiliate marketing. So what I'm going to do is talk to you about one of the most important processes today, and that's creating your customer avatar. Now, with that being said, I'll let you know that this is not... It's a process that's very detailed, and it's something that is absolutely necessary if you want to become a super affiliate. Like if you're just half-assing it, so to speak, and you don't care about learning this stuff, be my guest. But my absolute suggestion to you would be to do this stuff. What I can tell you is this is the difference between amateur Zach when I didn't make a whole lot of money and when I actually started really understanding marketing, really understanding how to sell stuff to people and really dominating everything I touch. So this is the process I teach my one-to-one coaching students. We literally go through this before we build anything. And the reason this is important is, a lot of people go out there, they start creating content, start promoting products, and then they don't really get many sales and they can't figure out why. And the reason being is because at the end of the day, your customer doesn't care about you. They care about themselves. It's all about what's in it for me, right? And so at the end of the day, if you do not understand how to speak to your customer, you don't know their language, you don't know the secret speak that they use in their niche, you don't understand, their problems, their fears, the frustrations and things that they care about, you're not going to hit the mark. So when you try to market to someone, they're not going to pay attention to you. They're going to pay attention to the person that does what I'm going to show you. Now, the good thing is this process is not very hard. And what I can tell you is that 99% of people will just not do this. And that's why they're going to fail. So when you do this, you're going to be able to understand the person you're talking to on a very deep level, and it's going to make selling stuff incredibly easy. I do this for my marketing business. I do this for my affiliate marketing business. I literally do this for every single business I run, including even my agency, so I can find my perfect clients. So I want to walk you through the process of both my ideal avatar and then my successful avatar. So I have two different ones. Now, understand, you don't need to create two different ones. The reason I created two different avatars is because the one is like the stage of life that the customer that I can help is in. And my second avatar is like the person that as they go through my process, they become successful and they step into like a better version of themselves. So I map this out in detail so that way I understand the person I can help and what I want the person's life to look like. And I made that based off of one of my successful students. I basically mapped it off of him. So that way it's like I got the person that I can help and I want them to graduate and become Steve. So here we go. So number one is my base level avatar. This is really all you want to focus on until you start creating lots of success. You don't even want to mess with avatar number two, but I want to show you the difference so that way it makes it easy in my head on who I'm marketing to, and hopefully you can get inside my brain to understand how to do it for your own business. So basically, I'm going to show you the avatars, then I'm going to show you the process of how you figure out who your avatar is. So this picture of this person that I call Bob is not a real person. Bob is just like my ideal customer avatar. This obviously is a real person, but I literally went to Google and just grabbed a picture so I could put a face to the name, right? So Bob is 45. He has 2 kids, a wife, and works full time. He does okay financially, but he's worried about his future. So, he has a good job, but he's worried about, retirement and how he's going to take care of his family. So he's dabbled in internet marketing, buying products for over a year with very little results. This is most of the industry. Most of the people that I actually have helped in the past, they're all over the place. They buy everything. He's on many gurus' list and gets endless promotions in his inbox daily. He purchases products on SEO, affiliate marketing, offline marketing, Facebook penny clicks, Amazon, and product creation. He buys new products weekly and has to hide the credit card bill from his wife. Now, that particular thing right there about hiding the credit card bill from his wife. Now, some of the things I want you to understand when you map out your customer avatar for your business, some of the things you're gonna keep making this avatar better to help you market to your ideal customer better, because you're gonna learn things about your customers. I've literally had people come to me and say their marriage is on the rocky brinks because they keep buying products and they don't take action. And so I learned this from seeing that commonality over and over and over again. In the beginning, it didn't start out this detailed. So understand in the beginning, you're just gonna kind of collect some baseline information so you understand the person you're marketing to, and then later you're going to develop this as you go. Now, he has no business plan or real direction to follow. He's starting to feel overwhelmed with all the options. He's not sure where to start. He's starting to wonder if this is time to give up this dream and making it online. So basically, Bob is the person that I really try to cater to. Now, with that being said, I've had people come in that have never actually started a business at all. They've never even attempted a business. But a lot of the people I try to focus on helping is the people that follow all the gurus that basically peddle hype, lots of income screenshots, bragging about how cool they are, and basically not helping you, right? And so that's the customer I really focus on helping them understand that at the end of the day, no product, no mentor, no income screenshot, none of this stuff is what's going to help you. It's you inside that's actually going to help you. It's you applying the things that you're learning and actually following people that actually do what they say. That's what's going to get you there, right? And so this is my perfect customer, and that's why I'm able to create content. I'm able to create products. I'm able to create emails and videos and webinars and live streams to speak directly to the person because I've went through the process that I'm going to teach you in this video to map all of this out. Now, this is my dream customer. They go from being Bob, they're opportunity seekers, I call it, where they don't stick with anything. Maybe they're buying Shopify, a course. Then all of a sudden they say, no, that didn't work. It's Amazon. Then they get into cryptocurrency. Then they're like, maybe I'll try affiliate marketing or create my own products. They bounce all over the place. And then eventually they get to a point where they're fed up of being fed all of the hype, so to speak, right? And they decide, you know what? I want to find somebody that actually can really help me. And then they actually start applying what they learn and they become Steve. And so Steve is my ideal customer that I want to go from being a Bob and I want to turn them into Steves, which is basically where your life is awesome, you're making good money, and you're no longer stressed and overwhelmed all the time and constantly playing the buying all kinds of products that you just don't need. So Steve is a real person. Steve is somebody he was a Bob and he followed my process and he's made over $350,000. Now he averages like $25,000 a month and his business is constantly growing because of the fact that he stopped being Bob and he graduated to being Steve. So Steve is the opposite of Bob. Steve is happy with his life, his business, his marriage, and he's a devoted father. Steve has made $350,000 in his business, is now making $25,000 a month because he's focused on building a real business and not chasing shiny objects like Bob. Now, Steve can't stand hype, and he knows most people are full of BS. So one of the things that like my Steve avatar is he's been around the block a time or two. He understands that basically just people bragging about things doesn't help him one bit. He hates people that just constantly brag about themselves and never talk about how you're going to help me. So he hates income screenshots and it doesn't impress him one bit. He understands the only thing that matters is that the person he chooses to mentor him actually does what they say and they have helped other people get the results that he wants. Steve is a doer. He's not somebody that just studies all the time, right? And he spends 80% of his time building his business and 20% studying. He's not afraid to fail and understands that failure is a part of the process, but he never quits. He always learns from his mistakes and sticks with it until he gets the result he wants. So instead of being like Bob, where Bob's like, he tries something and then it doesn't work after like a week and then he jumps to something new thinking that the grass is greener on the other side, Steve says, I'm doing this, and he sticks to it. Now, he buys products and coaching not because he's looking for a secret method, but to further his personal business growth. And he only buys products that align with his business model and will help him learn the skills he needs. So the important thing to see here for me, how I map this out, is Bob is the ideal person I want. So I want you to realize when I show you the process to create your customer avatar, you don't in the early stages need to create your successful version, because for some people, you're not going to have this second stage anyways. I created this because in my business niche, in my business, a lot of people are opportunity seekers. They never stick with anything. They constantly jump to new things thinking that's the answer. And so therefore they never get results. And some of my other affiliate marketing businesses and other niches, I don't do this. I'll just map out the basics of the customer. Like, do they have any pain points? What do they like to do for fun? Are they a millennial? So they're younger. Are they more like middle age? Are they a senior? This is all going to make the difference of how you talk to someone, because you think about it. If you're catering to, say, seniors, somebody that's like, 55 and up, right? You're not going to be dropping F-bombs and stuff like that because it's probably going to scare your audience away. If you're catering to millennials, they'll probably find it funny and entertaining, right? It's a mass difference of how you would talk to someone based on the age gap that you're actually, working with. So this is what the process of the avatar is. And the reason it's important, and I can tell you this, if you don't do this, you kind of wander around and nothing ever happens. Like, you never create results because you're trying to cater to everybody. And one of the biggest mistakes people make when they go into a niche, they want to market to everyone. Anybody they think will buy the product is who they're trying to market to. And this just doesn't work. You have to literally speak to one type of person and exclude everybody else. Because if you think about it, if you were, let's say, a marketing expert, right? And you're like, hey, I'm the marketing expert. But would you rather choose the marketing, like would you think your customer would rather choose the marketing expert for dentist? Like say you're trying to help, like business owners get clients, or do you think they'd rather choose the marketing expert? It's just generalized. Of course, if you were catering to a dentist and that was the client you're trying to get, if you worked with other dentists or you catered to learning everything you knew or everything you could about a dentist business, that dentist owner is going to take you over the generalized person because they're like, hey, this person understands me, they understand my business model, and I believe that they can help me get clients. So the point is, you want to exclude 99% and focus on 1%. I promise you, when you do this, you're going to make 100 times more money than when you try to be a jack of all trades like most people. That's why this is very, very important. So you must know your audience if you haven't got that yet. So understand that the business that knows their customer the best wins every single time. So if you take somebody, as I said, that's like a specialist and they understand the niche they're catering to and they understand, like, say, the language. I call this the secret language, basically. So an example, if you're in quilting, I'm only throwing out one term I know because I've heard my mother say it, is like there's a quilting pattern called, like, I think bear paw or paw, I think it's bear paw. And so basically, if you were not in the quilting, if you were going into the quilting niche, like the example I used in the previous videos, if you did not understand the terms they use and things like cutting wheels and the tools they use, right? Nobody's going to pay attention to you because they're going to understand you don't understand me and you don't get me, and therefore they're going to go find somebody that does. However, if you understand the person, you're marketing to, they're going to be like, man, I like this person. I don't know what it is, but I like this person. So step one is to identify your audience. And as I said, you want to speak to one group of people. So even though you're speaking to many, thousands, hundreds of thousands, they all have a common trait. They all have a common, belief, a common goal, a common thing they care about. So when you write your emails or you create your videos or you write blog posts or do a podcast or whatever kind of content you're creating, you're speaking to that one person. You're not just speaking to anybody that might possibly be interested in quilting, for example. And understand, whatever niche you go with, I'm using quilting because I used that in the previous video, but it doesn't matter what niche you're in, it applies for the same process. Now, you want to identify their problems, pains, and frustrations. So now, this is going to be kind of subjective. Like, say, example, like in quilting, that's more of a hobby niche, so they probably don't have too many pains, right? They probably just have interest, but they may have frustrations. So maybe their frustration is they're trying to do a quilt or whatever, and the pattern just doesn't make sense. I'm going to show you an example later of like when I researched a comment and somebody's like, yeah, but what about this? So the thing is it may not be a pain. Like, say somebody losing a weight, like trying to lose weight, like lose belly fat, right? They have an internal pain. They feel bad about themselves. They have low confidence. Maybe it's affecting their relationship. It could be very, very deep. But say in a hobby niche, maybe they're just frustrated with something in the niche. An example, say in golfing, right? If somebody wants to improve their golf swing, technically that's a frustration. I guess it could be a pain if you really loved golf and you're just like so entirely like fed up that you can't get your golf swing you can't hit the ball as far as you want it to go. Maybe it could actually be a pain, but I think it would be more like a frustration. So understand it's going to vary, but you want to understand like what is really bothering them. That's what you want to know, because understand fear, pain, frustration, it's going to sell a million times better than things that are positive. Me personally, I hate negativity. I don't like any of it. However, what I can tell you is when somebody has a fear, they have a frustration, they have a problem, they're more motivated to spend money and to solve that problem. Now, what keeps them up at night? So here's an example, and I can tell you this from personal experience. I used to be $50,000 in debt, and that's what got me into trying to figure out even how to make money on the internet. I never wanted to create a business. I never had any desire to make money online. I never thought that I would be successful in business. Honestly, I thought I'd be an employee my whole life. But what caused me to go into entrepreneurship is the fact that I was in pain and I was frustrated, and I'd literally sit up at night like stressed out that the creditors were calling me all the time. So depending on what your niche is, you got to understand the person in the niche and what's bothering them, because this is what's going to motivate them to spend money with you. Now, number 3 is to understand their desires. So you need to know their needs, wants, and desires. So this is really stuff like what motivates them, what inspires them, what is it something they really want. And sometimes their needs is just, it can be a difference between they absolutely need it, like it's something they absolutely need, or maybe it's just a want, which obviously would be more emotional, and it's something that they don't really use logic as far as a purchasing decision. Now, step number 4 is understand their dreams and vision. So basically, this is the outcome that they're trying to achieve. So an example, if somebody's trying to lose weight, obviously they want to lose belly fat, but usually the outcome is not completely what you think it is. So the outcome for you would think probably if you're just getting started, The outcome is just to lose belly fat, but maybe their really outcome is they want to get in better shape because they're single and they want to find a spouse. So this is where it's really important to understand your audience, because this is what most affiliate marketers, and not even just affiliates, I teach affiliate marketing, but this applies to all business models. I do this for product creation. So if you don't understand what their real outcome is, you don't really understand what your customer wants, it's going to be very hard to sell to them, because you're going to think that this is what they want, and they're not going to resonate with you because you're not speaking their language. Now, know their fears. What are their biggest fears to achieve this outcome, and what's stopping them, holding them from achieving the desired outcome? So here's an example, something like I just used on weight loss, right? Their biggest fear could be themselves. Like, they've tried diets before. Maybe they don't even think that it's not the diet they're questioning if it'll work. They're questioning themselves. Like, I've tried diets before, and then I ended up cheating and getting pizza, and then I feel bad about myself, and then I stopped doing it. So you really want to know, like, what is their biggest fear of doing it? Say, example, in the business niche, right, where somebody is trying to start their first business online. One of the things I can tell you that freaks people out is technology. Like, how do I set up a website? How do I set up a squeeze page? How do I do all the different technical things of business? So a lot of people don't even take the first step because they're freaked out about technology. So you got to really figure out the customer that you're marketing to and what you're selling, and figure out, like, what's stopping them, what's holding them up from making that buying decision. This is the difference between selling maybe a couple products if you get lucky, or selling hundreds and thousands of products, because of the fact that you understand who you're marketing to. Now, number 6, your solutions. So how can you help your customer right now? So one of the biggest things you want to understand is, especially as an affiliate, all you're doing is what I call bridging the gap. Here's you, and here's the customer, right? And so what you're doing is you're just connecting the customer to where they want to be. That's it. So I guess technically I should have explained it better. Here's the customer, here's you, and here's the product, right? You're just helping bridge the gap. You're taking the customer and bridging them to the product. You're helping them find the solution. But a lot of people make the mistake of thinking like they got to give them everything that's going to help them. Like they got to literally give them the whole shebang, the whole enchilada, but really you don't. If you can just get somebody one step closer to making them feel like, man, this is really going to help me, they're going to buy stuff from you. So that's why I did this little wonderful diagram drawing here, right? I call it point A and point B. And if you ever listen to any of my live streams, like in my Facebook group, or you watch some of my other videos here on YouTube, you're going to hear me talking about point A, point B, or sometimes I'll refer to it as heaven and hell. So almost all of us, right, we have point A. And you notice in here, I got the little negative face where you're like feeling sad. And that's how most of us are. Like most of us, when we're trying to solve something, like we're trying to make more money, we're trying to start a business, we're trying to lose weight, we're trying to learn how to play guitar. Like we have this like thing we want to achieve, but we kind of feel like, man, I don't know if this is possible for me. Like this is going to be really hard. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And the outcome is what they want to achieve. They want to learn how to master guitar and be able to do a crazy riff. They want to be able to make $20,000 a month. They want to be able to look sexy at the beach. Whatever that outcome is, right? That's where they want to be. But all you need to do is get them one step closer. You notice there's like all the little hash marks in between A and B. You don't need to do all that. You don't need to help them with all those steps. B is the product. That's the solution that's going to help them. All you need to do is just like share a little tidbit, some like little tip with them that inspires them, that helps them see like, man, this product or this person I believe is going to be able to help me get that result. Bam, you win. So you let the product that you're selling, that's the desired result they want. That's the solution to their problem. The big mistake people make is they think that they need to help them with everything. And so they say, man, Zach, I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the expertise. I can't help anybody. But really you can. All you need to do is bridge the gap, help them see the vision that they can actually get the result they want, and they're going to buy from you. Now, here's my process for doing this. I shared a little bit of kind of this, but I use this strategy when I'm trying to learn the customer and do it on a deep level. So what I suggest when you actually go through this process, you get out a pad of paper and a pen and you write down like everything you can think of, because this is going to tell you about the customer you're marketing to. This is going to make it so when you're creating content, you're creating emails, you're creating sales pitches, anything that you're doing in the future, it's going to make it 100 times easier. So one of the things I do, if quilting was my niche, right, I'm going to go to Facebook and I'm going to go to pages and groups. First, I'm going to go to pages and I'm going to go like type in like the keyword quilting. So I want to go like check it out and see how many pages are on quilting. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find like a popular, place, and I used the example of Missouri Quilt Co. before in the previous video. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on their fan page, and I'm not really going to so much, for the most part, look at like what content they're sharing, because like right here, YouTube giveaway, lucky winners, 150 cash prize. But that's not what I'm actually looking for. I just swiped an example really quick. I will, of course, look at what content they're posting, but what I'm doing is I'm looking at the comments. I'm looking at like how their customers are responding. What are their customers asking? What are the questions they're saying? So you see there's like 16 comments, right? I'm going to look at those, and I'm going to do that on several posts and several pages and note down everything I see, because you're going to see things that they're asking. And a lot of times you're going to see that a lot of times because the business owner is so busy, like your competitors, they just ignore their customers. And so they're asking questions that doesn't make sense to them. And that's giving you ideas of how you market to this person. Now, the same thing I do, and this is my favorite place, is groups. Because groups and forums, which we'll talk about forums later, they're like the most passionate place. Like people just literally, like say quilting, you see 70,000 members. These people just sit in there and talk about quilting and all different types of things about quilting all day long. You're going to get all the feedback you need if you find an active group in your niche that you're going to just be able to note down, like literally fill a notepad full of paper of things people are asking. They're going to be talking about products they're buying, and that's going to give you even ideas of things you can sell yourself. Now, the next thing I do is I look and actually read the questions in the groups. I look at the questions they're asking. Now, this isn't from quilting. I just nabbed it from one of my marketing groups. And like right here, the guy's asking about how to do free marketing online, right? Free traffic. And so what I would do is I would look at the question and I'd look at the responses people are asking. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, literally just go through those groups, pay attention to what people are asking. What are their struggles? What are they complaining about? What are they happy about? I'm going to try to note down even things like, remember what I said, the secret language? So if I notice they're talking a lot about, say, the bear paw quilt pattern, I'm going to use that logic. Hey, I should go find me something to promote that's about bear paw quilt patterns because this is very, very popular. Now, the next thing I like to do is go to Google and just whatever my keyword is for my niche, I type in, niche keyword forums. So quilting forums. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside of the forums. This obviously isn't from the quilting forum, but I'm going to go in there and I'm going to go through all the different what's called threads. These are individual posts, so to speak. I'm going to look at the post. I'm going to look at the topics that they're talking about and note all those down. This is going to tell me things they care about. Like they're talking about what is the best cutting wheel? What is the best quilt pattern? What's the best sewing machine to use? Who's the best influencer to follow, whatever it be. Depending on what your niche is, people are going to be asking these questions, and it's going to give you so much data to understand how to sell to them. You're going to understand more than 99% of your competitors, even the people that are on top. I promise you, most of these people don't do this. There's a lot of people who they've been in their niche for years, and they still don't quite understand their customer. The only reason they're successful, they've just been in it for years and years and years, and they have like a big following because they've been there forever, but you'll still see a lot of people complaining and asking questions that doesn't make sense to them, and they just ignore them. And if you note this stuff down, this is your competitive edge. This is how you compete and put people out of business. Now, the next one I like to do is go to blogs. So I'll type in the same thing, quilting, and then blogs. And then what I'm going to do when I actually go to those blogs is I'm going to basically, read the comments. I'm going to read the questions. I'm going to see what posts they're posting, note all this stuff down. Now, how you find, different blogs and whatnot and find different websites to do research of what your customers are searching for is you use terms like how to stop, how to lose, how to improve, how to learn. And then what you do is on the end of those search phrases, you basically type in some of your keywords like, say, how to improve quilting, how to learn quilting, how to stop, or well, probably wouldn't use how to stop, how to quilt. And then what you do, one of the great things is you notice like right here, I have like how to quilt, and you'll see how to quilt as you go, how to quilt by hand, how to quilt fabric. All those are individual search terms. And every time you click on one of those things, it's going to give you a new search result, which is going to give you more and more websites to do research on. Look at the comments on the blog post, what people are saying. And then of course, if you go to the very bottom of Google after you do that, Google tells you everything. They literally give you all the knowledge you need to go out there and market for your niche. So they're going to show you other things they think are related. Like, okay, if you search how to quilt, now you scroll to the bottom and it's going to give you suggestions that's related to it, like how to quilt by hand, how to quilt beginner, how to machine quilt, quilt patterns, how to make a t-shirt quilt, how to quilt binding. These are all things that you should be noting down. These are ideas for content in the future. This is ideas for, doing research about your customer. Like this process is going to help you so much. Now, I do the same thing on YouTube. I would do the same thing on YouTube. I go over to YouTube, type in quilting. And then, of course, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the popular channels. This is that Missouri Quilt Co. brand I've been using the example of, right? And I'm going to go to their channel and I'm going to look at all the video topics they're doing, right? I'm going to look at stuff they're talking about. I'm going to look at for here, she's talking, it looks like a lot about quilt patterns and, let's see, how to add borders to a quilt. I'm going to look at these things that people care about because it's going to give me ideas of content I should create. And it's also going to give me ideas of how the customers are responding to their content. So it gives me ideas of how to make my stuff better. Now, the final thing is to read the comments. Like this is the same thing I've been teaching you. This is the process that I follow every single time. So if you look right here on one of her videos, I clicked and a lot of people are saying, oh, that's really great. But I noticed this girl is like 5 comments down and she's saying, love your videos. Could you start giving the yardage for a baby quilt too? That is what I make the most of. So you see, like right there, if you were in the quilting niche and you say you're going to create videos or content about quilting, and you realize some of the things that, like, questions and concerns people had, like you could see, like right here, obviously she's not sharing the yardage that she uses, which is obviously important when you're measuring to make the difference of a full-size quilt for an adult or a baby quilt. And so you could start doing that as well. You could start finding better ways to do things. You could recommend baby quilt patterns, so that way, like, here's your answer to your problem. This is stuff that the 99% don't do. And I promise you, if you do this kind of stuff, it's literally going to change everything for you. Now, that being said, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button so that way you get notified every time I post a video. And finally, what I want to say is if you have any questions, comment below. And if you missed any of the videos I've done so far, in the description, I've actually put a link to the playlist. It's going to go in order of the videos of the process that I do to start and then actually get to the point where you're building a business that's going to be profitable. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you in tomorrow's episode.